So you know I'm a huge fan of NS Spain, and one of the things I love is we have speakers like Peter that you've known for years, and then we have new speakers like our next speaker, Mihaela, who will set up her computer and get ready for it. If you read her bio at any of the places she's posted online, she's really passionate about these things she's going to be talking about. She's a seasoned Apple developer, and she says that even though she's a forensic developer by trade, that's not by choice. And if you read anything about her, you know that what she's really passionate about are these modular development and getting your code base really clean. I'd like to introduce you to Mihaela.
Okay. Before we set this up, I just want to say that I would find myself being a forensic developer, even that was not what I chose, because whenever I work for a client or even at my company, which were many times agencies, I would just find myself having to just resort to try to debug and try to figure out what the point wanted to say with their code. And it was difficult more than it wasn't. And then I realized that even though I started in 2014, it was Objective-C then, and then we came to Swift, and then Swift UI and everything, there was always the same problem. Almost 60 to 80% of my time, I was dealing with backend. Not directly, I was not writing backend, but the backend and I were not speaking the same language. Then the Swagger came, it was kind of like, oh, we now have specs, yeah, right. But it was wishful thinking, you know. Sometimes they will return an object, sometimes they will return an array, but you really can't tell. And then amazing thing happened, Swagger came. And I thought, oh, great, so now we have specs, so the backend will be using the same specs, we will be using the same specs. And then it just seemed so fabulous, but it quite didn't synchronize again. So, and then after that, when Swagger actually was merged into Open API, I was thinking, oh, amazing, now we have like RFC-like specs. You know, we have a formal language describing it. You can do it in YAML, you can do it in JSON. It's so easy to write a generator. But then whenever I would talk to my backend friends, they would tell me the same thing, oh, we just generate specs from our existing code, meaning database and whatever they set up, node or whatever, to be on the backend. Oh, so we don't see it yet, right? I see it, but they don't. Maybe we should turn this little guy around. No, just put it share screen. Just put it share screen and that's it. I don't have notes. I don't believe in notes. Share, just like another monitor. Okay, and so whenever I would talk to the guys, even 5 days ago, I am admin of a local group in Croatia, Developers Relaxed. That's the only way they let me in, because I speak my mouth sometimes too loud, and I'm a woman, and it doesn't matter that I'm a woman. I can be bitchy. That's the problem. I can hide behind the fact that I'm a woman, and that's why they let me stay in the group, because I'm admin. But I'm sure once I'm not an admin, they will kick me out. Oh, it's here. Okay, so we can now start the conversation. But this was a part of it. So, okay, this is. Oh, okay. Where do I do it? There. Oh, okay. So yeah, API-driven development, refactored. Refactored, I'll explain later. Scaling server and client code in highly modular architecture. Yeah, highly modular is the point. Because when you, okay, I can just say a bit about myself. I started 2013. I was a Windows developer before. Yeah, you can give me your condolences. I was actually building application in Delphi, but then the Microsoft kidnapped the main Delphi guy, and then he did Fox Pro, and then he did Net. and they basically kidnapped him. When I heard that he got $10 million in 2000 to go there, everyone, how could he do it? And me thinking, if I were his wife, I would kill him had he not had done it. But anyway, and so, yeah, you know. And then, so I worked for agencies, which is a horrible work, but you get paid. I have 3 kids. I have to earn a living. And I also work for clients. And I'm really focused on modular, open API driven. Open API driven because it's the best we got. There's nothing better that can work on server and on the client when it comes to. So why Swift? Well, you know, when Paul Graham sold his first product, it was a Bayesian formula-driven spam filter. He always said, no one hacked me because it was written in Lisp. So it's the same for Swift. If you, if you write a server in Swift, no one will hack you. And if they hack you, you know who it is. It's one of us. You know? So you don't have to worry about that. That's the reason for you. Then it compiles, it runs, I'm happy. Okay, so my agenda is why, how, what, and so what. Yeah, I think you can get everything from this, right? Okay, why? Okay, I'm very passionate about why specs first, then how I make it work in Swift, what it looks like in a demo, and finally, so what, like, why are you here? But I guess you'll take something from it. Okay, so why? This is a lot of text. Steve Jobs would object for this, but I just wanted, if I'm going to share the slide, I wanted you guys to have this. So, as I said, most backend developers do it the other way around. They generate specs from their existing code, and they think it's okay. And then I'm thinking, I get it. So they are actually responsible to the stakeholders, not to us clients who are writing clients. So it's all fake, you know. Everything is fake. They generate specs, which are wishful thinking or wishful drinking, whatever you want to call it. And then we use those specs which have no, and so there's the first layer when you lose 10%. Then when we use it, we lose another 10%. By the time the client uses this or whatever, it's like, what the hell is happening? So, and I even try to argue with my colleagues on Developers Croatia Relax, and they were like, why do you do that? You know that thing people do, why do you need that? Like when I said I have 2 Apple Studio displays, why do you need that? So what do I do now? Do I come to the court and, you know, explain why I need, like, you could have whatever monitor. So this is the same thing. Why do you need that? I said, of course I need, that's the point. First come the specs. Then you generate from the specs the part that is not the database, because the data is not described in the specs. The only thing that is described in the specs are endpoints and a bit of security. And the other thing, as you see the last part, it's because the context is untouched by humans. What it means, it's trustworthy. So even in our very secure EU GDPR, when we won't be getting the live translation because of that, but we can use it to our advantage when it comes to specs. We can just put the specs there, give it to EU Commission, whatever. They can say, okay, this sounds nice. What happened? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's okay. This is very complicated for me. And so that way, if it's not touched by humans, the specs, if it's generated by machine, and if we can prove that whatever is generated by machine 100% corresponds to the specs, then we can even go further and say, oh, we can maybe make a certification. Like, oh, this does what it does because once we proved it 100 times, we can prove the specs 100% correspond to what the server will be doing and what the client will be doing. And of course, we establish a contract. So how I do it, I have like 3 parts to it: open API specs, then extreme packaging. This is an idea that actually I renamed Krzysztof Zabłocki's idea into extreme packaging because he didn't give it a name. And I took it from his Swifty stack, which is the best money I ever spent. And then we have generator, Swift Open API Generator is a suite of Swift packages. This is just one. I even contributed to one little one, the Open API kit, just to be able to use it without contribution, you know. So I don't have to use the license. Well, I'm kidding. I love the code. And so Open API, okay, we have the contract origin, who writes it, anatomy of a specs, and I'm just going to walk through this a little bit so that you get acquainted. So it just, like I said, it describes REST. And what people many times ask me, oh, does it work with GraphQL? Of course. GraphQL is just another machine on top of REST. And GraphQL actually requires a lot of maintenance and a lot of power on the back end, but it relies on the REST. The way that they change the queries and everything is only to be able to show you just some data. And people use GraphQL for silly reasons. They don't understand that it was done for Facebook. Facebook that has 4 billion customers, and you have 400. Do you want to spend $100,000 and two new backend developers to be able to do Open API because Facebook does it? Okay, I mean, if you want to feel cool. I hate GraphQL, even though I use it more than one time. And it's not just YAML or JSON itself, it's just a formal language. People write it in YAML, which is horrible. I don't know, guys, if you write YAML, but it is just so, it hates the spaces. If you miss one space, the thing doesn't work, right? It's just horrible. I'm really frustrated. I have PTSD after I write YAML. I'm like, okay, yeah. Yeah, it started as Swagger in 2010. That's when all the backend guys said, yeah, I now have specs. And then Smart Bear donated to Linux Foundation, and then it evolved to Open API. Everyone writes it. So the product owners, front-end, mobile, back-end, why wouldn't people? I mean, it's simple. It has such a few parts. As you see, only the first three are required: info, servers, and pod. So everyone can write it. I do really like to put everything into components and then just reuse those components. So that's just the way I do it. This is an example of the simplest thing. So you just get path, and then you get response. And it's, of course, YAML, so we are very pedantic about spaces. Yeah, and extreme packaging, it was inspired by Krzysztof Zabłocki. It was not inspired. He actually envisioned it. I just renamed it. And it's a Swifty stack course, which is amazing. I loved it. OK, so this is about extreme packaging. I'm going to show you later all of this in Xcode when you will see it, just how it looks. So the idea is to push modularity to the extreme. It has thin targets and clear ownership. What it means is basically, I always wanted to have like a package for everything. Then I would end up with 27 packages and 27 Git repos. And then for some reason, I just didn't know how to do it. Maybe I should have asked questions better. And then I bought this Swifty stack, and the first thing I realized, oh, Krzysztof actually solved it. It just, I don't know, is it not documented or whatever, but you can have one package file with thousands of targets, or how many, and it will end up as just one repo. And the most beautiful thing, each target that you put in the package will be separately compiled, which is amazing, because you don't have to think about, oh, this should be public, this should be private. You know, it just makes you be a better developer. So this is very simple. So for this idea, I have like shared API models where I generate the code from the Open API specs into one package, and then I use it both in server and client. And then that client is used in those features and stuff like that. What is, yeah, it will be a demo server and a client app. It's just, I'm going to switch to Xcode. But the point is, so we have Mac app. It is all part of extreme packaging, even though when it comes to app, I even call that packaging. That means that when I make the final app, the target, it just has one line of code because all the features are already in the packages. So I don't know, guys, if you have encountered this. You are working on an app and say, oh, I just want to make another app to just test this feature. Or, oh my God, we messed up, now I have to change the bundle name, whatever. So, you get into that kind of loop. And this is easy because you can just pin a new target, rename it, and each target for Mac app and iOS app or whatever has just one line of code. And everything is in packages. So I thought, oh, that's great. I can just pin 20 different apps, each one targeting whatever, meaning I don't even have to do tests in that manner. I can just make an app that tests. And another thing that I'm really into is if I'm using SwiftUI, I force to do a Mac app. And I always think about it a little bit of if-def, it's not a problem. But I always, whenever I do a SwiftUI app, I'm thinking, even if the client hasn't asked for a Mac app, I think to myself, well, it's much faster for me to test the Mac app on the Mac than simulator. And then he doesn't have to know I'm working on a Mac app. I won't tell him. I can later say, look, I got the Mac app for you as well. And then he's like, oh, so it kind of works. and it only takes like 7% time more because you just have to think about it. Oh, the tab bar appearance is a bit different on the Mac. I have to if-dev it, and then it will work. And then you can use maybe some Mac-specific UI if you have time. So it's much easier to have a Mac app, especially if you're testing a networking layer. You just test it on the Mac. Everything the same. URL session is the same. So maybe just, oh, okay. Did I lose myself? Oh, yeah, here. So what I wanted to show you now is a little bit of Xcode. Okay, so we can go now into Xcode. Yeah, and, oh, you don't see that. Okay. Add windows, add this window. Oh, you can see that. Okay, so first what I wanted to show you is just to see the Mac app that I mentioned and look at the code. That's all. and now you can see the same app for, yeah, that's it. Oh, okay, this one is complicated, but that's all. Yeah, this one too, but it's basically copy and paste, but just one difference. So this is what I wanted to do. I just want to spin whatever up I can to just show to the client whatever I did, and that is, and all of these you can see in sources, here there are. So these are all the things that I need. So let's say here we have chat up view. So that's just the chat view. Let's see where it is. No, I don't want a preview. No, never mind. Oh, it's here. It's in chat feature. So you see, this feature can be used completely separately. And all of these, and you can see here are the packages. So as you can see, everything is in one package for Mac OS and iOS. And I love to make local variables for the packages so that I can easy add them, you see. And so here, as you can see, all the packages, and then at the end, at the bottom, I just add them, add targets. And so this just looks nicer, like helper targets, API targets. And that way, everything is in a package. And for what I wanted to say about this, and so here we have, just let's see, oh yeah. So there's one, yes. So when it comes to the open API specs and everything, I'm going to go back to the way I generated. But at this point, this is the open API document that I'm working with. So if you can see, it's pretty big. It got a lot of components and everything. Okay. It's pretty big. And all of that is generated via this Open API generator. And as you can see here, we can actually specify to the generator what we want. I here said I wanted types. Types, that means that I wanted all the types, all the structs and enums to be generated in one file. I wanted it to generate server and client. As you can see here, you can't see the server and client code because they are not here. They are somewhere in derived data, which is, I don't know why, but that's just the way it happens. And as you can see, this shared package, when you look at the targets, like, yeah, API client targets. As you can see, it uses shared API models, and also API server target uses the shared API models and open API runtime. And here you basically specify what kind of a server you want. So you can see here, I'm using Vapor, but you don't have to use Vapor. And for the client as well, as you can see, I'm using here async client, but I could also use something else. The generator uses multiple of those. And so by that way, I have the same Open API specs and all the models available to the API client and to the API server. And the server, in case of us iOS developers, our usage for server is for testing. But the one thing that happens when you make a server, you don't get the data because database is not in the spec. So you have to mock the data or maybe fetch the real data or another mock data in that manner. But you do get the spec. So let me just run the server. Oh, it's already running. Let me run it again. You know, see, I hope this will come out. Oh, so this is the server that is done from those specs, and here I can test it with curl. Let's say I copy this, go to my terminal. Yeah, and you see it returned something to me, and the same for the other thing. But let's now try to see, since I'm running the server, I can now also run one of my little small targets. Let's try with the Mac app. It's gonna be, oh, I'll run it, and also we'll run the iOS app. Just let it run. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we'll run this one as well. Where is the Mac app? Register device. Okay. What? I mean, it's the same app, so if it doesn't. Okay, so now we'll just, so this SSA event, because in addition to REST API, this particular demo also has server events. So it's actually basically a chat app that I used for this demo, but it kind of looks better if you look. So here what we will see a raw JSON. Oh, we don't see this window. You don't see this window. So I have to edit, right? Oh my God. Add windows, add this window. Okay, now you see it, okay. And so when you see here the server is running, and when I go send, so it's actually, I'm here just, this is for debugging purposes because I wanted to have something like this as well. So it's just, you know, like a chat is returning something. it's done generated via OpenAPI specs, and then this client is decoding the messages via codable, also done via API specs. Okay. Okay. Ah, I know why. This iOS app ran on the Mac, and I wanted to put it on a, but it doesn't matter. Okay, let's try like this. Yeah, and so, but we can also look at how it looks in the UI. So the same thing. It's like a chat playbook. Okay. Oh, I have to replace it. No matter. Okay, is it running? Oh, this is the playbook, okay. And so here, if we chat with something, you can see how it actually looked. So this, oh, I didn't add the window, sorry, add window. Okay, I'm gonna write it again. Okay, so you can see these are the same messages that came here, but here we just put them in some UI and interpreted them differently. I just wanted to show you that how the JSON looks and how the UI might look and how you might interpret it, just to show that it's pretty useful, this kind of approach. Okay, and now we can, simulator never opened. Never mind, I don't care. And now we can actually look at how I approach generating the OpenAPI specs, because as I showed you before, this, let me just show you something. So I'll add another window. Open power YAML. Add windows, add this window. So this is some app I use by some indie developer. It's Power YAML. As you can see, it's pretty big. It's a pretty big YAML. So it's not really nice. How do I, like when a client gives me, when they give me their specs, I don't trust it. I first have to compile them via OpenAPI generator. And then I get a lot of errors. And how do I debug those errors? It's too much it's too confusing to look at the file this big. So this is my approach. My approach is I make a test target. So this is just my approach, but kind of I like it. I make a test target, and it's called schema generator test. And there I actually refactor each and every component and path. So there's first path is info. I write info here. It's just a YAML. And then we have every endpoint, which is a path here. And then we have every component here. And then at the end, I run this schema generator test, which does nothing. As you can see, it's a YAML merger. It just merges all of these files. And then there's a manual step, which I'll show you, because so we have YAML files, and then the test runner is merged, then it generates some file, then I copy it, and then I can just rerun my server. I don't have to call the OpenAPI generator, because whenever it's needed, it will call it. And then I just get, so if any of the specs change, you just change one of these files. One of these files, you fix them, and then you get your changed specs merged. I know this is not ideal, but this is the best thing I could figure, you know, to be able to do very complex and very big project, because then these parts with YAMLs, someone else can do it. I can give it to a backend developer or whomever, and then they can do their part, give it to me, I just merge it, and then that is it. Okay, and where is my keynote now? Okay, so we are here. Yeah. So as you could see, let me see. Yeah, specs, packaging, automation. Specs comes first, packaging forces visible. Okay. Yeah. So what can you take from this? I want you to take from this just two things. One thing is that specs should be the contract between not only the back end and the front end, but also the stakeholder, as they funny call it when you work for an agency, whatever, the client, or if we're making an app for ourselves, for us. And the other thing is that specs relieve you of any responsibility what you did on your part. Just a little effort to get used to using open API generators, Swift package, and I think that those, I don't know, 2 hours will be one of the best hours you ever invested. That's all for me, folks. If you have any questions, please ask away.
Thank you. So one thing I'd like you to know is all those technical difficulties and then doing an Xcode demo. This was their first live presentation.
Thank you.
So we have some questions and then we'll go to a break. The first question was when you began talking about the Mac app and the iOS app, one of the things you said as a selling point was the Mac app only takes 7% more time.
Yeah.
And they wanted to know, with the UI differences and UX differences.
No. You get a very bad Mac app, but it's a Mac app. Yeah. But you save time but not firing simulator. This is a MacBook Air. It's M4, but it really gets hot. And if I can just save that 30% more energy to run simulator, I'm great.
Another question was about usually back-end and web development is done by the same engineers, and so they know the APIs that they want to use. How do you convince the other engineers to use Open API when they have sort of their own things that they like to do?
By threats, using threats. On their livelihood and their well-being, yes.
Please thank Mihaela.